Good morning, traders. Hope you're all doing fantastic. It's the new month, the 1st of February, so we have a new monthly candle. We can have a look at what the previous monthly candle did, see what the liquidity flow was like, and then potentially try to have an expectation of what to expect for the new month and then the new week, and also then the daily and 1 hour and so on. And we'll be just following that pattern and see what is presented. So, first of all, we're just going to have a look at the monthly. What I've marked out here is just the previous month's high and low. So obviously we're trading currently within the previous month's range. So this was the range that the previous month created. It was the highest high that it created, and that was the lowest low that it created. And now we are in that high and low area, which is quite significant because that can give us an indication of where we are with regards to premium and discount. So what we can also see is that this previous month stripped the highs of 2 months ago in November. Last year, November, we stripped those highs, and then we had the bearish reaction towards the downside, and we closed as bearish. We had a wick towards the downside. We failed to go lower than these body closes, but we pushed back up and we had this bearish close towards the downside. Potentially this month, we will now see either price go for the lows of the previous month or the highs, and that's generally what you would see is the next month usually trades to the previous highs and lows. If you just have a quick look, it's not always, but ideally if it's trending. You see in this case, it did not happen. You can see the next month stayed within the range. And this side, on this one, this month, the September, took the lows. This month we had price staying within, and this month you can see price took the lows. This month stayed within this month. Okay, that's a lot of months. Saying this month way too much. Anyway, so basically what we can see is the price usually when it's trending, it goes for the previous highs and lows. So if it's a downtrend and the monthly is supposed to go towards the downside, then we'll see price go lower. If you can just look at it from just a bit of a zoomed out point of view, we can see price respecting to push towards the downside, but pushing up, but we failed to make a higher high and then started to this retracement. Personally, I'm not exactly sure where we are on the monthly range. We can have a look at this leg towards the upside, because this leg towards the upside broke some significant structure to the left, didn't break any major structure. So we're kind of like in the 50% range, right there in the middle. So it's, for me, I think it's kind of indecisive thing. So we'll probably see a massive monthly breakout either towards the upside or the downside. I can see it happening towards the upside, going for these equal highs, liquidity above here. I think that is a possibility, definitely, especially after this massive push towards the downside, rejection, probably just a strip of liquidity for position traders, and then a move to back up. But we're not going to be spending too much time on the monthly because we have no real business messing around there. The structure on the weekly, we can see price moving towards the downside. We are still in a downtrend for all purposes, intents and purposes. We're in a downtrend. We can still see that the price is not making a higher high or a higher low. There's the previous lower high and there's the previous lower low. So we're still in that range. Price is not yet decisive on which way it is going. It is respecting bearish supply. Well, obviously bearish is supply. You can see we're respecting the supply over there, respect it and start pushing off. And then we can also see price respecting the demand down here, which is just interesting to note. So currently from the weekly, we need to identify where could we be trading to on the weekly. So last week's low is a viable option for price to trade into, or previous week's low. And we are seeing that this previous week is the monthly low, and then we have the previous week's high up there as well. But still, it's not super clear as to know where price is heading to. We generally have some highs and lows, so it's a bit difficult to really on the weekly get a sense of where price is going. Then on the daily, yes, on the daily, what can we see here? So price reacted off of this level of supply, which is a range on the lower time frame, and we then saw this bullishness after that reaction towards the upside. I'll be looking then at previous daily highs as target. So the first previous daily high, which is significant, is this one because this is a swing point. That would be for me an important area. You can just take note of this range on the lower time frame that we have over here. We're seeing price in there right now. There's a bit of a range, I think, to the left. We'll just have a look at that on the 1 hour. So ideally, I think we'd be going a bit more bullish for time being, because we have another area right here as well. You can have a look at those areas now on the 1 hour. Let's give it a quick look. So as remember what I said, it's a range, and the range creates the liquidity and supply and demand. So here we have that range just on the daily, and then also the same one that we just looked at over there. And we're seeing this 1 hour order block, and we can see price respecting it and reacting off of it. So we know where price is sensitive for a reaction. But ultimately, we trade the intraday levels and we trade the intraday momentum. We can still clearly see that the structure is towards the downside, towards the upside. You can see it's turning bullish with price making higher highs and higher lows, trending towards the upside. So first of all, for the 1 hour levels, we kind of need to create a sense of direction for us. So what I would be doing is see that we have a 1 hour liquidity down here, and then we have the 1 hour order block up there, but we also now have this previous high there, and prices then potentially sensitive to go towards the lows and the highs, potentially for sweep. So you could potentially see a bruise down and then a continuation up, or if we strongly react off of this 1 hour order block, we'll see price sweep up and then sweep down towards the downside. It's currently, well, the past few weeks, GU has been not completely, but rather messy for me. And a lot of things only seeing in hindsight, and struggling to really follow the flow as it goes. You can see just the price action is trending towards the upside, but it's rather impulsive. We have a massive impulsive 1 hour candle, and then a drop, and then a correction, and then a drop impulsively, and then a comeback towards the upside, and then there's 1 hour wick closes towards the downside, and then you have price going up again. So it's confusing for me personally. Maybe write down in the comments if it's confusing to you as well. That would be interesting to know. We're seeing price breaking structure towards the upside, but currently these are the areas and the levels that we need to be paying attention to. So if we have a look at the 15 minutes, this is now where we can really get some juice going. Let's just quickly put on the previous day markers, midnight. There is 7. Okay. And then we just put it on towards the front. Okay, so here we have potentially where price action will unfold today, 7 midnight, all the way to the next day. So this is then yesterday's high. We can see that yesterday's high, and yesterday's low is all the way down there, and then we have some intraday levels in here as well, but we're not going to look at them right now. An area that I do look at, which is for me quite a significant level, is this area. That is a cooling area where price broke structure towards the upside, creating the equal lows liquidity over here. Potentially on the 5 minute, we can refine this area a bit more. We can refine it to this last candle, but I'm going to prefer looking at this down candle before the move towards the upside. So I'll be looking at this area. This is potentially a buying area for me, just to continue with the trend towards the upside. What this will help me, what this will do for me is we'll grab the liquidity below this 1 hour lows, we'll tap into an area of demand, and we'll potentially then be reaching for the liquidity above this high, which is previous daily high, which is also deeper into the 1 hour order block, and then we can see, just note the liquidity above those equal highs there as well. So I think there's cause for price to go higher, and ideally I would want to see something like this happening. That's potentially then my outlook for today on GU. I think it's relatively not self-explanatory, but we've built a picture from the monthly down to the 1 hour, and then now 15 and 5 minutes. I think this is what I would recommend looking at, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but that's just currently my opinion. And we have this area down here as well. Why don't I like this area? There's no imbalance. Personally, there's no imbalance first. This candle does not meet all the requirements as an order block. It didn't take liquidity. It only mitigated liquidity. So you can see that this order block mitigated this area of supply down, demand down there. It didn't sweep liquidity, which is a knock on it, but it's not completely throwing it out of the water. But just something to take. I'm feeling a bit sick, snotty, and my sinuses are acting up. Sorry about that. So this is then the view that I have for GU. It's a bit longer view video, but I hope you get the idea. So let's have a quick look at Aussie dollar, and we're just gonna have a quick glance at it. I'm not gonna go too in depth on it. We're just gonna look at the weekly bearishness, and we can see price did close below these lows. I did point it out in the yesterday's morning analysis for the community. We see the price did close below it, so technically, if you wanted to get technical, it is still downtrend, and we're now looking for price to make a new lower high somewhere, and then follow the trend towards the downside. This area is, I think, is the weekly order block. It's the last bullish candle before the down movement. You can obviously refine it, but just taking the extreme, taking that low, expecting price to potentially move back up towards this area before anything else. So bullishness for me for Aussie dollar. So if we look at the daily, you can see the structure also bullish. You can see a push, a pullback, and then a push again. Now looking for price to make that pullback. So where is the order block? Well, it's difficult to say. Where's the imbalance? Where's all those things? This there could be anywhere. Price is really, like you can see, this wick towards the upside. We sweep the liquidity below these highs, tap into this weekly order block. You can see there, very perfect. Sweep the highs, tap into order block, and we move towards the downside. Then we still created this level of imbalance over here, which is significant because price hasn't folded yet. So we can just drag that out. We can see potentially see price return to that area later this week or next week. And then price sweeps down. There's no imbalance, but we have imbalance again in this area over there. You can see price is filling this imbalance right now. So that is rather significant because it tells us where price is pulling towards. So we have this candle as well as a area of demand, high time frame demand daily in this supply. Sorry, I was getting confused because it's a pause. It's a range that pauses the market, and then it's a push towards the downside where structure is broken. So that shows us that there's some orders and there's some institutional order flow in this area, just because it ranged and then broke structure. That's all we need to understand from that, in my opinion. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. See the 1 hour structure towards the downside, and then we started seeing the shift towards the upside. Very clear as day shift towards the upside, and making this trend bullish. Initially, I was looking at price to reach down to this area down here, but you see price never reached that area. This is now our most recent low, and then we have our liquidity high there as well. So that's the range that we're trading within now. But this just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't make me feel comfortable understanding how price moves. This tells me that price is rather impulsive and indecisive, meaning we have a 1 hour candle bullish and then all the way back up again. It's most probably just news inflicted and fundamentally driven. So if it's too much fundamentally driven and not a lot, and technicals are being pushed aside a bit, then obviously we need to be patient and wait for the technicals and the fundamentals to align into the same view. And that is what we need to do. So 1 hour view, 15 minutes. Now, you see, this just throws me off completely. And with regards to a session opening and London trading, this is not part of my plan. You can see Asian station having this big dump, already telling me that London station will not be as clean as day. Well, obviously you can see that as a level of supply and then say, okay, well, it's going to go short, and then you can take the short and try to reach for this liquidity. But that's not part of my plan, so I'm not going to suggest anything like that. So the only thing that I'm suggesting or looking at is GU, because it follows the trend. It's a 15-minute, 5-minute area. We have imbalance there. We have liquidity over there. Things are aligning for price to reach into this area. So in this case, I'll be setting an alert and be sharing this and more when time comes with the setup signal group as well in the community. So guys, keep your eyes and ears open. So that is it. We're going to just have a quick look at euro dollar. No, we're not. It's really extended. I was looking at to maybe look at something in this area, but why didn't I take it? Well, why didn't I look at it? Because you can see price was just correctively pushing towards the downside. There was no impulsiveness, no impulsive breaking structure. This is something else to look at. If price is breaking structure, but it's breaking structure correctively, then it's just a pullback for the main move towards the upside. Then you're going to see price go higher. So don't get confused with order flow and structure breaks just because you want to take a reversal trade. Still pay attention to what price is actually doing and how the candles are moving. Still things that we need to take into consideration. We still need to study price and price action. We can't throw that out of the window. Um, yeah, price is relatively bullish. 1 hour really moving towards the upside. After we had this big dump towards the downside, price is now trying to correct probably in full the imbalances that's left with this move towards the downside. Yeah, this video is getting too long, so I'm going to cut it here. Hope you all have a wonderful day. And obviously, for now, my trade of choice would be GU. If we can see a higher low created here, and then price to push towards the upside, ultimately reaching for these highs. That would be my target. So something like this. You can leave a bit of a wider stop, targeting these highs, but we'll refine it on the 1 minute and get a cleaner, more precise confirmed entry once we reach price. So that is it from my side, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day and stay safe, good luck, and have fun trading. Have a nice day. Bye.